And now I have Whitney from the Colorado Tax Coach, Larry Stone CPA, joining me again this week. Whitney, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You know,
Good
it's been a
morning.
warm one, and we got a little fresh
has.
snow last night.
It was nice. Yeah, it was coming down more than I expected last night, actually.
Yeah, it was, but not too much. It was nice that it
No,
wasn't too much. I am
exactly.
definitely looking forward to the driveway melting.
I know. Didn't have to shovel out my car this week. That was definitely nice.
So what have you guys been up to over there at the Colorado Tax Coach and
Yes.
Stone Advisors and all that stuff?
So aside from obviously tax season, which
Yes.
is, in full force right now.
Yes.
So hopefully everyone's, getting their documents together, getting them turned into your CPAs, making sure that, everything's good to go, get those refunds. I know people are looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's definitely, I started to do mine and I noticed
Yeah.
there's a number of new things.
Yeah.
Like the form, like the 1040 looks different
It
this
is.
year.
Some things are different this year.
Yeah.
So definitely, talk to your CPA or accountant
Yeah.
or whoever you work with and make sure, you've got everything squared away. I mentioned last week that we did go down to Scottsdale for a training. And I brought in the book David and Goliath that I mentioned where Malcolm Gladwell was speaking, and this is his new book, David and Goliath.
Okay, so,
And
so the author of this is the leader of the workshop that you guys went
Yep.
to.
Oh, he did a speech for us. He was kind of
Okay.
the keynote speaker. So,
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep. He just did one little segment, but it was really interesting because I think it resonates with Summit County business people and residents a lot. People are probably usually familiar with David and Goliath. David was the small guy that beat giant Goliath with just a stone and a slingshot. So the book is very interesting, and it goes through different scenarios. Oh yeah, sure. I don't know where. There we go. So pick this book up. It's really good. I've got about halfway through, but it just talks about how the small guys, the small businesses, the people that have a disadvantage to begin with. It actually helps them to overcome really big hurdles. The chapter I just finished last night was about how a third of really successful entrepreneurs and CEOs have dyslexia.
Oh.
Which is really interesting. So growing up, going to school, they always struggled. Some of them got made fun of, were called idiots, were called dumb. And that dyslexia actually turned out to be a really powerful tool for them because they had to learn other ways to get around hurdles. So they had to become
just
good.
A driving force.
It
of
is,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to let this hold me back.
Yeah, exactly. Or they had to learn how to listen differently. So one guy, he made like D's and C's in every class. So at the end of semester, he went into his professor and convinced them to give him a B or an A. So he got really good at negotiating and, selling people. And that's where he, started a company from that skill. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think Stone CPA's David in the Goliath world in the finance industry.
Yeah.
We don't have the millions of dollars to spend on commercials or advertising or, hiring people up here is another struggle that we have, that we're having to learn new ways to do things in our office since we can't hire on 1 to 2 people every time we need to.
Yeah.
High cost, things like that. And I was mentioning before this, TV8's also kind of a David and the Goliath of Colorado news shows. Just, so you have to do things differently. And I think one thing Stone CPA, Stone Advisors is doing differently than the Goliaths in the industry is we're using academics in our finance strategy. We're using Eugene Fama and Harry Markowitz theories that they won Nobel Prize, awards on, whereas other industries, they're just using their dollars to kind of get people in.
I think when you are a David, you have the freedom to kind of explore these other
Absolutely.
approaches that you guys are doing.
Well, and that was one thing they kind of mentioned in the book is you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You're already kind of the underdog. You've got to use what you can. You got to use what you can to get ahead.
Now, kind of thinking of sort of your guys' unique approach to finances and stuff, I mean, you mentioned that last week you had that happy hour down in Denver, and just in some of our discussion beforehand, I was surprised to know that you guys have a number of clients down in the Front Range.
Yeah, absolutely. We do go down to the Front Range a lot for different meetings on the CPA side and advisor side. Again, being the small Summit County, you have to go elsewhere to get clients and get traction sometime. So we did have a happy hour last week at Sarto's in Denver. And that's a thing we do differently as well, is we do personal connections with our clients. And we're going to start doing those about once a month to really get personal with the clients, get in relationships with them. people are super excited about the conversation. We were actually surprised people come and they're like excited to talk about investments and finance.
I mean, your money, you work hard for it, and you're kind of like a little nervous of who you entrust with it, right? So it's
nice to have that face-to-face connection with people. We also do this little dream board while we're there. So we have a little board and we cut out words and pictures and we have everyone that comes in, what's your American dream? What are you trying to achieve? And people will put, different things. So it's kind of cool. We go to different groups and we have a different dream board for each one, and we can kind of see, what's coming up for people.
Now, I know you guys have an American Dream Boot Camp coming up. We got to head out a little quickly here, but just really quickly. When is that, and how can people register and find out more about that American Dream Boot Camp?
Friday, April 19th and 20th. Right there on the website, Dreams19 at eventbrite.com, I believe, is that one. It's going to be at Copper Mountain. Friday is an all-day workshop. Saturday is the skiing and fun activities. I think it might be closing weekend at Copper.
Yeah. And I'll be there. I'm excited.
Yes,
I'm excited to work on my American dream.
Yes, it's always exciting.
Okay. Well, Whitney, thank you so much for coming in. Okay, folks, we're going to take another quick break. Stay tuned. We've got some great information in store for you of events and other things going on around the county.